Hey, what's going on YouTube? UA Reviews here, and today I've got a football 101 video, and today we're going to talk about speed and agility. In my personal opinion, I think that agility is truly an underrated quality of a lot of football players. I think there's too much focus on just true, speed today. In testing of the 40-yard dash. It always looks good if players are running the 4.4. In high school, because usually that has good translation to playing at the next level as far as the speed. But it's also important to have that agility in your game. It's one thing to be have that track speed and being the fastest person out there, but if you can't make the moves inside the lines, it could really affect your game to where if you're not able to move agilely, very quick side to side. That's a big factor, because you'll see some players that may run, they may be the fastest guys out there, but they're not necessarily built for football in their lateral movement. I want to take a look at some combine results from this year, from the NFL Combine, and really focus on one player and kind of show you how his time's kind of different, and how we're going to talk about Jadeveon Clowney from South Carolina, who got drafted to the Texans as the #1 overall pick. So if we take a look here, Jadeveon Clowney's 40-yard dash time timed at the NFL Combine this year, back in February, was a 4.53. So that ranks first in his position group. Now, we're not looking at overall, but 4.5 for a defensive lineman is flying. At his size, that is absolutely flying. Those are some crazy numbers. But if you look at some of the other some of the top 5 also performers, most of their times are only hundredths of a second off, so there's not a whole lot of difference between. Clowney is fast, he's got the track speed, but will he, if we look at some of his agility times, if you go and look at Clowney's agility times, say in the 3-cone drill, he ranks in at number 12 in his position group, running a 7.27. So now, a 7.27 isn't a bad time to have, but if you look at the main performer, Kony Ealy, for that position, he ran a 6.8. So if you look at, that's almost a second difference in an agility drill, being the 3-cone drill. If we go look at the 20-yard shuttle, you're seeing some of the same results. Jadeveon Clowney finishes 11, runs a 4.43 in the 20-yard shuttle, but the fastest time out of the defensive lineman was Jackson Jeffcoat, running a 4.18, and that number is actually pretty fast for a defensive lineman. So, but if you go back and look at Jackson Jeffcoat's 40, he is in the top 4. He ran a 4.63, so there's about a second difference, or about a tenth of a second difference in Clowney and Jeffcoat's 40-yard times, but at the same time, Jeffcoat has a better overall agility speed in his game. So Jeffcoat's probably able to, is quicker. Now, Jadeveon Clowney may be quicker off the ball, but is Jadeveon Clowney able to move within space really fast, able to, go down the line, defeat blocks? Now, you could say that, having the speed as a defensive lineman is, something that's, it's awesome to have. You need to have that ability to be, as quick as you can off the ball. But at the same time, you've got to be able to track down, the running back. You've got to be able to track down the play. You've got to be able to move. If you cut in one way, you've got to be able to realize, if you're on the pass rush and you're not going to make it on the outside, well, you've got to immediately make a move inside. And if he can't make that move, that second quick move that you've got to be able to have, that's very important in a defensive lineman's game. You've got to have that motion where you start off, but you've got to make a quick second reaction to try to make a play. And sometimes you would see that in Jadeveon Clowney's game, where he was going off the ball just as quickly as he could, and just blowing. And there was times where he was just owning guys because of his speed. But at the same time, you would see how I just always felt watching him, he always felt slow when he was going after guys. Now, I mean, if he was chasing guys down from behind, I've seen Clowney do that, but at the next level, he's got to work on his agility. That's my belief. He could be working on that, but that's just one way I wanted to look at how the testing can be so different, and how that 40-yard dash time, in speed is truly very important. But at the same time, you've got to also be quick on your feet, agility, moving side to side. Now, this can go for a lot of positions, and really, you can look at agility, across the board for every player that's out there. Just think of every position that would need to have the use of agility in their game. So you could be the fastest running back ever, and run a sub 40-yard dash time, and just you may have the best track speed. Think of some of the fastest track runners that run the 100-yard dash. Now put them in a set of pads with 21 other players, blocking their way. There's no way that Usain Bolt would be able to get through the line just as quickly as, and some people like to say they want to figure out his 40-yard time and see how it would affect him in football and how fast he would be. Well, you put 21 other players on his side and the opponent's side, it's going to be a totally different speed, because a guy like that has just been running straight forward in a straight line as fast as he can, for probably many years of his life, and that wouldn't be that's not a true test to see how that's his track speed. Now, track speed is important for maybe breaking away, but you've also, to even be able to break away from guys, and when you see like a running back break a couple tackles then break off for a big run, that's good track speed. That's important to have. But at the same time, you've got to be able to have the ability to make moves on guys. You've got to be able to make people miss, either defeat the tacklers, and then hit it for the home run. But at the same time, you've got to be able to get to, and how important it is to get from point A to point B as fast as you can. But it's also important inside the lines. If you think of offensive line, how quick their steps have got to be. When the ball snaps just right off the ball, you've got to be able to get on your man as quickly as possible, because if you've got a guy like Jadeveon Clowney lined up right over you, you've got to be able to make that first move before he does it on you. So that's one way that speed and agility kind of overlap each other, but I want to try to point out that agility is an important part of your game that needs to be worked on. There's a lot of drills that can help with your agility. And agility has to come down with a lot with it about your feet movement. How fast your feet are able to move in space, because that's one way agility translates to that speed also. So from what I've been talking about, I've talked a lot about how speed and agility have similar characteristics, and how they both are great, to have in your arsenal as far as being a football player and what you can bring to the field. But I want to try to make a last point about how agility really does affect your game, because if you think about just being able to move as quickly as you can from point A to point B as quickly as you can, but it's really about those moves on the inside of the lines. You've got to make quick decisions on your feet. Think about like a quarterback. Having you're dropping back. You've got to have that quick movement in your arsenal to get out of the way really quick, to avoid a sack, to step up and throw. Those are all important for a quarterback, but at the same time it almost goes across the board for all positions, to be laterally quick, and have that agile speed. Now when you talk about just pure speed as fast as you can go, and when we test like the 40-yard dash, that's all great and all, but we're talking about agile speed. So it's moving quickly as you can, laterally, it might be backpedaling, there's a lot of agility in football that really isn't sometimes pointed out, or sometimes is overlooked. So I would just recommend finding drills that if you want to work on your game and maybe even get to the next level, it's important to be agilely quick, because the players at the next level, say in college, even the pro level, are going to be extremely fast and have great agility, have great agile speed, moving side to side, and making those football moves, which are very important, and it's how the game's played. playing the game fast. But I would just encourage you to find drills that work on your position. There's certain drills that are great for certain positions. Like the 3-cone drill is a great like defensive lineman drill, or just a great. It's a great way to test that agile speed. It may be for the skill players. It may be the 40-yard is it's a great test of I'm not saying go out there and train the 40-yard dash all the time, but there's a lot of drills that you can look up here on YouTube that will help with working on your agility. There's ladders, there's the mini hurdles like I've worked on here before. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So I would just kind of research stuff, find some drills that you can use. Now I'm not going to recommend you drills because things that work for me might not also work for you, with my position, kind of what I know. So I would just encourage you just to research some stuff on your own. Find know your position and know how what you need to work on with your game. As far as working on your agile speed and dealing with all that. So if you have any more questions or if you have any more topics you want to bring up about speed and agility, we can discuss them down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys back here next time on Football 101. Thanks for watching.